Hello, this is my acceptable use policy and agreement. I went ahead and did my school district where I teach, which is Northridge Local School District, and I found our acceptable use policy and made some changes on it. My changes are in red. There were also things that I removed. I put a strike through those things. I did go ahead and leave them black because they were there before, but the change I would make would be to remove them. At the very beginning, it talks about where computers are used, and we now have Chromebook carts. So I added the Chromebook carts, and we are in the process of moving to a one-to-one district. So I thought it was important to add that because the students' usage of the network and computers will become more as the year goes by, or the years go by. Down here, I wanted to make sure to add that students must understand that one student's misuse of the network and internet access can jeopardize the opportunity for all to have access. This said ability of all students to enjoy access, but I thought the word opportunity sounded more appropriate for what the students would be doing with it. Also down here, they have the word enjoy, and I thought that it wasn't really the proper word to use for this type of what they were using the internet for, so I changed it to the word use, so to use the internet access at school. Down in the personal responsibility, I thought it was important to really focus on what the personal responsibility of each student was, and it was hard just through a statement to see what it was, so I took that whole thing out and made it a bulleted statement to make it easier to read. So I changed the word not only, took that out, and then I bulleted it. So it says follow the rules in this policy and agreement and then report any misuse. And then I left the part that explains what the misuse is. Down in purpose and use, I added the part to say please discontinue the activity until you've consulted with the person monitoring the internet in case there was any doubt about something that students were using or doing. I thought it was important to not just have to contact that person, but also to stop what they're doing until they know that it's okay. The next section was about the netiquette. This section only had 2 things in it, so I felt like it was important to focus on the positive things, on the expectations that students were being asked to do with using this policy. So I added some things to that. They had be polite and be safe, but I added be respectful, be honest, follow the golden rule, and be smart. Really, so that students can understand these are the expectations. Yes, this is what you need to be doing. The next part was a part of the netiquette, but it just didn't seem to flow to me. So I added a separate spot and put violations. So these are the different violations, kind of goes along with the netiquette, but the things that they would do wrong that would cause a problem. So I didn't really change most of those because I felt like they were all very important. They went more into detail from the netiquette to the actual violation. I did change a couple of things to make it more user-friendly to read. So for number 3, I added take another's password or other user identifier and pretend to be them. So then I struck through what was there before because it just didn't make sense. Because these statements were up above with the netiquette, I did have to change the numbers. So I did, the numbers are in red because of those changes. Down in privacy, I felt like the word tool needed to be bolded, so I did change that. And then I took out the words any and. It just made more sense just to say the word all instead of adding that any and. Down to the failure to follow the policy and breach of agreement, I added this sentence that says the district reserves the right to decide when and if a user will be reinstated and the appropriate guidelines that will be followed in order to be reinstated. It just says that the district has a right to decide. I felt like it was important to state that yes, the district has a right, and if they do decide, there will be guidelines that they would need to follow. After that, I also bulleted this part as well, just to really make it see what would happen or why the privileges would be revoked, to make it easier for students to understand other than just reading the statement that is there. So I said, for summary, privilege is revoked if the violations from policy occur, failure to report the violations of others, and allowing others to use the account or password to access the network. I thought it was important to say that because a lot of students won't understand that even just the failure to report violations of other students could cause their privileges to be revoked. The next two sections were considered updates to our acceptable use policy. So instead of having the word update, I changed it and actually gave it a title. I called the first update the school district responsibility. It was very wordy and I was very confused when I read through it. So I took a lot of it out. I worried about taking it out because I don't know that I understand all the legal ramifications that go with the acceptable use policy. So I didn't want to take anything completely legal out. But from what I could tell from when I left, it's pretty much stating the same thing about what the school district is not responsible for in terms of the network. And then also I left in the part of the school that the school district is asking that they cooperate, the parents or guardians cooperate if they do form an investigation. I changed this section to new registration because it does say that they might have to re-register different parts of the year. This next part was about pictures of school-sponsored activities. I added the part that says the school district will take into account the parent or guardian's request as stated via the photo video release form. Every year I have several students whose parents choose for their students not to be photographed or videoed to be added to things on our website or different things around the school. So I thought it was important to add that part that yes, we will listen to what the parents are requesting and asking. I added the words this form instead of the word will. Just sounded better in how the wording was. That is all for this part. As a kindergarten teacher, I have had several parents that are very confused about this acceptable use policy or get very worried about different wordings when it talks about pornography and other things. They're very worried about what we're allowing our students to use on the internet. So I went ahead and I made a K3 version. It's pretty much the same. There's not a whole lot different to it, except down here in the violations, I took out a lot of the violations, like the specific wording for the violations, just so parents don't get bogged down with that, because hopefully their K3 students aren't worried about that, or that would not be a problem. So I left the important parts of the violations, but took out some of the other wording that would have the parents to be concerned. I also added in this part right here that says students in K3 are always monitored during their computer use. However, parents and guardians need to know that there are times that the filter does not work as we hope. Just so, yes, they are going to be monitored. We're not going to be let them look at things that they shouldn't, but you do need to be aware of those things. The rest of the policy I left the same. I just really wanted to kind of differentiate between a whole district and a K3 policy. There's probably some other things that could be changed to make it more K3 friendly for the kids to really understand. But at this time, that is what I changed. Because the students need to understand, but the parents as well. Like I said, the rest of it is pretty much the same. Down at the bottom is the actual signing of the agreement. I left this the same. I did not make any changes on this because I thought that it really was a good statement for what the parents were being asked and the students were being asked to sign, just signing that they agree with everything that was listed above. And that is my acceptable use policy revisions that I have made. Thank you.